baby-friendly hospital initiative. UNICEF is now calling this their most successful public health initiative ever. So this is the story behind that. And around 1980, officials from the World Health Organization and UNICEF met, and their goal was to decrease infant mortality rates around the world. And they sat at a table like this, and they said, what in the world could we do to affect infant mortality rates? And they knew that one thing happens. When breastfeeding rates anywhere in the world do this, in the next year this happens. And this is infant mortality rates. They go up. So they're directly related. So this group of wise people sat around and they said, okay, so to affect infant mortality rates, let's do something that we can increase breastfeeding rates around the world. And they sat and they thought, and they said, okay, well, let's do this. They knew the data that breastfeeding happens or doesn't happen in the first week of life. The first week is absolutely crucial for two reasons. Number one, the baby has to learn how to breastfeed. They don't come out knowing. Some babies come out and they're sucking on their tongue and their suck is totally messed up, and you have to train them. So you got the first week to train them, and unfortunately bottles train them the wrong way. The second thing is the mother has to have milk taken off her breast to make more. You're setting up these little antennas in the breast tissue that are going to produce the milk. And the only way these little antennas are set up are if the milk is taken off. So if you don't have those two things happening, the baby learning how to open its mouth and the milk coming off in the first week, it ain't going to happen. I can see a mom in my office at 2 weeks, and she may come in and go, oh, Dr. Philip, you know, now I want to breastfeed. The baby's 3 weeks old. I believe you now. Now I want to do it. It ain't going to happen. I mean, I could really try. I could find a great support group for them to go to. She could climb into bed and be with her baby in bed for 56 straight hours. But her milk supply just will not work. So the first week is crucial to breastfeeding. And this group said, where are babies and mothers in the first week? Usually they're in some sort of a hospital healthcare facility, or they have contact with healthcare folks. So UNICEF and the World Health Organization came up with this idea that they would give an award to a hospital or birthing facility that could show that they followed 10 simple things that support breastfeeding. And they said, if you do this and we come to your hospital and we do a site visit and we see that you're compliant with this, we'll give you an award and you can call yourself a baby-friendly hospital. So the politics of this is other countries went to the World Health Assembly meeting and came back and said to the government, we really want to do this. This is really important for mother-baby health in our country. And some governments were wise enough to say, absolutely, we're going to put the money and the power of our government behind this, and we're going to make this happen. What happened in the United States, it came back, the Reagan administration, under the very heavy lobbying efforts of the 3 formula company manufacturers in our country, said, well, best that the government not do this. Let's give it to an NGO. They can form an expert task force, and they can do this with very little money and very little support. So the expert task group was formed, directors were appointed, and for some reason they decided that they wanted to change the name and they wanted to change some of the steps. And so what happened is it got delayed in our country. And while the rest of the world started the Baby Friendly Initiative in 1991, we didn't start it in the United States until 1998. All right, so here are the 10 steps just quickly, and I know you're not in the hospital setting, so these may seem like what, but these are the 10 steps. One, that your hospital, so your nursery, your hospital would have a written breastfeeding policy, and when they come, they check to make sure there's no standing orders of bromocriptine. So now you know that one thing that they're looking for. The second thing is that you would train people about how you work with breastfeeding moms in your hospital. So a brand new nurse to the hospital in our hospital has to go through an 8-hour orientation course. A brand new intern gets me in their face constantly, giving them this information. The third is that it doesn't mean that if you're a baby-friendly hospital, you can't give out formula. It just means that women have a choice. They're given information. Hey, I heard your mom had breast cancer. Do you know about this breast cancer stuff? And how you feed may affect that. So you talk to women about their choice. The fourth is that you have systems in your hospital that if a baby's born, it allows the baby to stay with the mother for 1 hour. And you probably are going to go, well, what is that about? But hospitals are driven by bed gridlock, and you got to move mothers. And an hour is an eternity to have a baby stay with the mother. So to get this award, the baby's born. If the mother's stable, the baby's stable, they stay together. You would not believe how hard that is to do. If separated, so the baby is a NICU, goes to the NICU, then the mom gets pumping right away. You have a system in place that says, oh, baby's in the NICU, let's get the mom pumping. So we can get the milk off so we can make the receptors so she will be making milk in 10 days. The sixth step is if the mother chooses to breastfeed, then she breastfeeds. The seventh step is that we try to have babies stay out of the box. So if the baby looks fine and the mother's fine, guess what? The baby's staying with you. Seems like kind of a regular concept, but it doesn't happen in hospitals. The next step is breastfeeding on demand, so not by the clock. No pacifiers for healthy term babies for the first week of life. The reason for that is so the baby can be getting the milk off, so the mom's making the receptors, so she's going to make the milk. Support groups when they leave. In the United States, if you haven't looked, there's a possible 4,000 sites. We can't even get that number. I think it's like 3,800, but it's very hard to get this number. How many licensed maternity facilities? It's about 4,000. And as of August 2007, this is the latest data, there are 61 out of 4,000 that have gotten this award. The first baby-friendly hospital was Evergreen Hospital in Kirkland, Washington. Second one was Honolulu, Hawaii. This is Boston Medical Center where we were at. So you can see the concentrations of baby-friendly hospitals in the United States. And you can see, whoa, what's going on in California. California is taking their cigarette tax money. They're giving it to hospitals and saying, if you're interested in this baby-friendly thing, then we're going to give you some money to help you do it. So we actually did a study looking what is the problem in our country that we can't meet these 10 very simple things. I mean, it's not that big, it's not that difficult, it shouldn't be. So it gets right to this. One is we lost the doctors. So to get baby friendly, you actually have to have physicians that know what they're doing, and the nurses, and we lost them. The second is that to get this, you have to pay for the formula. Just like you pay for the IV bags, you pay for the linens that you're using, you pay for the formula. And the third is the box issue. The rooming in issue is difficult.